Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon. Hey guys, it's Vanity Ezel back in another Card Fight Vanguard Ezel on the Vanity weekly reveals. Please enjoy them. Like, comment, subscribe, and start, shall we? This time we're covering some more reveals from the trial decks. We're supposed to be getting the Neo Nectar Ride line, or at least the whatever it's called. I think it's called Longhorn. Wildress just dropped today. I'm going to get so many hate comments for saying this, and I am prepared to accept all of them because I know I deserve it. I don't see the hype behind Overdress anime. I will admit this. I will say this. Wildress is definitely my favorite so far. Okay, well, that's a lie. It's not my favorite so far by one reason alone, but I won't get into why. But obviously, it has one episode, but I don't know. I have faith in Wildress, but I'm really hoping it doesn't go down the same path as other series. So first up, let's go ahead and get on the reveals. First up, we have a mystical Accordionist. Yes, let's pretend like I didn't say anything so I don't get in trouble. Grade 2 NXR 5k shield, 10k base. Auto when it's discarded from your hand during your ride phase, you may put it into the soul. So, Keter Sentry got their own ride deck fodder similar to this, except the ride deck fodder called itself to rear, and it was a grade 1 with 6k base. This time it's a grade 2 with normal stats, and it goes to soul instead. So that's pretty good for Dradual, just because, you know, it consistently adds soul to Dradual, who needs different grades for his abilities to go off. My thing is, this is the trial deck vanilla. Because what I've learned is I think all the trial decks don't have vanillas, and I think this is supposed to replace it. Because it's a card that it doesn't need, it's just there for good support. So it's better than a trial deck vanilla, but it's not needed. Because Dradual doesn't need this. I should know, I play the deck and it's very funny. But all around it's a good card for the trial deck. I think it's good for a little bit of support, but I don't think you need outside of the trial deck. So I run out of 2 for that reason alone. Then we run Difo Doll Shisten, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. After rear, once per turn, if your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, counter plus 2, draw a card. Cool. So it's versatile. My issues with it is it's a once per turn, but that's fair, it makes sense. It's a draw. Cool. It works with Dradual really well because Dradual doesn't cost counter boss on its own, so you can just spam this and you'll get a bunch of hand cards. But I don't know. I don't really like her. I don't think she's an amazing card. If you want to run her, run out of 2 of. But like I said, in my own Dradual deck, I don't really run her. I don't need her. If you think you need her, run her, but I don't think you do. Then we have Transformation Magic Memeruru, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 7k base, Sorceress. Oh, I forgot. Was this guy who used Hexal Orb supposed to get into the tournament for Wildress? If he is, he better get a grade 4. If he doesn't, I'm boycotting. So anyways, Memeruru, act rear guard. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Sorcerer in its card name, retire this unit, choose up to 1 critical trigger or front trigger from your drop zone, put it to hand. Cool. The reason why it's like that is because if you don't remember, Hexor's Persona Ride skill was you could stack a front or crit at the top. So you can sack Memeruru to put an over, or not an over, sorry, or put a front or crit back into your hand and then use Vanguard skill to send that front or crit back to the top so you can get a guaranteed like triple drive with the trigger. So around Memeruru's all around a really nice grade 1. I think it's really good for Hexorb. All we need is more consistent ways to Persona Ride. I don't like that one grade 1 that's just counter boss 1 to search a copy. It's still a good thing. It's just, I don't know, I don't like it. So I think it's 3 copies of in Hexorb just because it's free. It doesn't cost counter boss, doesn't cost soul blast. It's just kill itself. So all around good. Then we have Witch of Dark Moon. I feel like there's supposed to be a title, not Witch of the Dark Moon, but it's like Witch of the Dark Moon so-and-so, not just Witch of the Dark Moon, but whatever. I like the art though. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 7k base, continuous guard circle. If you have a Vanguard Sorcerer in its card name, gets plus 10k shield. Cool. So the entirety of the ride line, you have a 15k guard at any point in time. Why are they giving us such a good card as a common? I feel like a free 15k just for playing the deck is an interesting gimmick. Why? What reason? Bushy, what are you doing in set 6 that gives us reason to do this? Maybe I'm overreacting because I don't pay attention to this type of thing. Because maybe this is the normal power creep and this is need to defend against them. Or maybe this is a hint to what power creep is coming. Either way, Witch of Dark Moon is interesting. Makes me think of some things, but whatever. I'll give it a 2 of in a Sorceress deck. I don't think you need it in a Sorceress deck, but a 2 of if you want to run it. Then we have Invoker of Thunder, Fullgress. God, I love this guy in Dradual. I will save my thoughts for the Dradual deck profile, which already went up. If you want to go see that video, just go watch the video and you'll get my full thoughts on this guy. But anyways, he's a grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Auto is placed on rear if your Vanguard has Dradual in its card name, so it can be either the trial deck grade 3 or it can be the Booster Set 7 grade 3, because they both have Dradual in their card name. Soul Blast 1, choose a card from your drop zone, put it to Soul, and this unit gets plus 2 for the turn. Cool, so it's not only, so you can't use it in a Chaos, unfortunately, because again, it has to be a Dradual, but The plus side is it can swap out souls. So you can take a card, you already have multiple copies of that grade in your soul, which I like to normally have 3 copies, one for this purpose and then the other 2 for actual soul blasting, and then soul blast that extra grade out and then swap it with a grade you need. Like for example, typically I have troubles getting grade 3s and 0s into soul, and I have really easy times getting grade 2s and 1s, so I'll typically soul blast my 3rd grade 1 in soul and swap it out for grade 0 that's already in my drop zone. So our Fullgress is really good. It makes use of the ride deck when you do this in the early game. He gets +2 out of it. He technically is just free because he just swaps the soul. So and you can put the soul back as the thing. So even if you have no targets, you can just soul blast 1 just to give him 2 and then still put the card back. All around Fullgress is an amazing card. I like him. I think he's really good in Dragold. I don't think you need to run at a 4 because I don't, and I still see him consistently. So I think a 3 of is just fine. But I think he's really good in a Dragold deck just because of that skill. Then we have Ultrasound Siren, grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 10k base, auto when it's placed on rear from hand. Counterboss 1, look at top 3, choose a card from one of them, put it to soul, shuffle the remaining back to deck, and if there are 4 more cards with different names in your soul, draw a card. So, Counterblast, very easy to pay in Dragold, like I said, doesn't have any Counterblast cost of his own, so basically all your support cards get to use the Counterblast for free. Had my brain fire. Anyways, gets the top 3 search, gets someone to soul, possibly get you a draw. In the early game where I do this, very easy to get draws, and in the late games it's even better to get draws because you're more likely to get the draw with the 4 different names. All around Ultrasound Siren is a really nice grade 2. I like her. She gets the selective soul charge, she gets the draws, and she shuffles the deck. Good card. I believe there's a 4 of in my Dragold deck. It's either a 4 of or a 3 of, I don't remember. Then we have Mysterious Fairy Lyn. Okay, for my testing with Dragold, MVP in the early game. Outside of Jewel Core, MVP in the early game. So grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto when she's placed on rear, look at the top 2, choose 1 card from among them, put it to soul, send the other to bottom. So, yes, it's a mandatory, you have to send something to soul and send one of them to bottom. Good news is, just ways to send different grades to soul, which is good with Dragold. It does it for free, doesn't cost Counterblast, doesn't cost Soul Blast, doesn't cost discards, doesn't cost a retiring of a rear guard. It is just an on place for free. Check the top 2, do a thing. If you play the Dragold like I do and you rush at grade 2, this thing is the most important grade 1 in your deck outside of Jewel Core and of course Fullgress, and you should not run it at any less than a 3 of because this thing is the MVP in the early game. Like I said, outside of those 2. So 3 of Lyn, she's just really good for the setup. And then we have Trachlance Raider. This thing is what I call my beat stick weapon. You know, you just take when you use Dragold, you use his ability to bring them down to 1k. That's basically you kicking them in the kneecap so they can't stand back up. Then your other rear guard, while yes, they block the attack, your attack still kind of hits a little bit, and you hit them in the back of the other kneecap. So then while they're on the ground riding in pain and slightly paralyzed from the legs down, you take your guy over here, Tombless Raider, you take his little scythe, weapon thingy, whatever, and then you just hold it over their heads and then you beat them to death with it until they die. So if that wasn't a description to you of what his skill actually does, his skill is auto rear when he attacks. If your Vanguard is Dragold, Counterboss 1, until end of battle he'll get +10. At the end of the battle you shove him to soul. So he's a 23k swing without a booster. If you want to give him a booster, cool, he's probably a 31 to an opponent's 1k unless they've seen a trigger. And at the end of the battle he'll go to soul, so that's really good because that means that gets you a new grade 3 in soul, and that's really helpful for me when all of my Dragolds want to get freaking damage checked back to back. Why? Why are 3 of them next to each other? I have salt from that game. Why? Why does that dragon hate me? I don't know, but whatever. Trachlance Raider is really good. He gets you a grade 3 in soul, which is my second hardest grade to get in soul. My other well, technically it's the hardest grade. No, it's the second hardest grade. The hardest grade being grade 0 somehow. So yeah, Trachlance Raider is really good. I like him a lot. That 23k swing is really nice. It only costs a counterboss when he goes to soul it. Why not run him at like a 3 of in the deck? Like, because that's what I want him at. Then we have Avid Heaper, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear. When he boosts a grade 2 or greater unit, may soul charge 1. Cool, so that's actually really good. 1, he doesn't work on grade 1s or lower, so fair. But 2, you don't have to soul charge when he boosts. It is a free soul charge, but it's a May soul charge. So that means you don't deck out from this. This is one of the best soul charges I've ever seen. Like, it's kind of like Acrobat Presenter, and I really like using Acrobat Presenter when it first came out for Bruce, where you got that soul charge too if you're in Final Rush and you were on a Bruce. But Avid Heaper is really good because while it does get 1 less soul charge than obviously Acrobat Presenter, it doesn't deck you out, which is what that grade 1 did a lot. So I'm really glad. It might not be Acrobat Design now that I think about it, but you get you know who I'm talking about if you played Bears. Either way, Avid Heaper is really nice. I like that he's a Mace Soul Charge. He's really good with all the other decks because he's very generic. He can work in Dragoid. I don't wear him in Dragoid because I genuinely do not need him. But all around, he's a nice grade 1. I like him. Bushy did a good job designing this, and I give it a 3 of in any Dark States like that one Soul Charging. Then we have Cardinal Noid Kalafi. Why does that name sound so familiar? Anyways, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Act rear if your world is Dark Knight or Abyssal Dark Knight. Soul Boss 1 to increase or decrease her original power to 15 for this turn. So she becomes a Shadow Army token. My thing with this now is I'm starting to think, is Bushy turning... Because Shadow Army tokens used to just be a beat sticks. Then they turned into resource. And then they became more resource. And then they became resource and beat sticks at the same time. Now I'm starting to think with the new Orphist and this, and granted it's only very little come off of, but like, are Shadow Army tokens now not the main thing? Like, they now are just a commodity. Like, there's something you have access to. You don't need to use it because the deck can hit the numbers that easily, but you can use them if you want to. That's the feeling I get from the Shadow Army tokens now. I don't know if it's just me, but that's just how I see it. Either way, that's decently good. I admit, getting that 15k, it's not a once per turn, so if your opponent managed to interfuse with it during the main phase somehow, then you could just keep changing as long as you had soul to go through, but I don't know. I'm not so sure I like this card particularly. I don't want to run into my Shadow Army deck, so I probably won't, but I will say I like her art. I like the hair, I like the arrow, I like the circle in the background, all around decent card, 2 of. Our next reveals are Greedon reveals, and I find it interesting because I don't think Greedon's actually going to be in Will Dress, so I'm kind of surprised we have Greedon reveals. I guess Bushy's just choosing to support them anyways, and I don't know why, but right before I started this part of the recording, I had a genuine thought about something, and I want to keep it to myself because I feel like it's such a good idea. And watch, it's going to happen, and then I'm going to say, oh, I predicted, and then everyone's going to call me a liar for it, but whatever. So anyways, first up we have Desire Devil. That is not remotely how you say that name, and I refuse to even try to say that name. I've always wanted to try to say something with an umlaut, but I don't know how to actually pronounce words with umlaut, so let's just try it again. Hundjäger, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear when it boost. If you have no other rear guards, combat 1, choose one of your average Demonic Dragon Greedons on Van, he gets +1 critical for the battle. Okay, so unless they find an alternative way to boost other units, basically, without having other units on the board outside of the Vanguard, it basically would just be a Vanguard swing for double critical. Me personally, I think Greedon was just really solid in set 4, and it kind of bothers me that Bushy's trying to give us all these rear guard supports. I mean, how does Greedon work nowadays? Like, I haven't played Greedon in fucking forever, either against it or with it, and I haven't played it with the new support, obviously, so I'm not so sure, like, is it better that the fact that you're keeping an extra rear guard on board, or is it worse? Like, I don't know. I think it's interesting because it can give Greedon that extra crit, but it can't stand, so it's like a 50-50. So maybe a 2 of a Greedon deck? Again, I'm not a Greedon expert. Then we have card with cool ass art that I'm not so sure about. Desire Devil Kodoku, grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base, auto rear when he attacks while boosted. So automatically you can't use him with Greedon, especially because he says your Vanguard is Greedon. Greedon's gonna get a card that superior calls or a stand during the battle phase that isn't that bunny. Because now that confirms it. Because to do this, you have to be on Greedon. And because it has to be while boosted, that means you're losing out on 2 things. I mean, unless this is just meant for premium plays and I'm reading too much into this, I genuinely think we're going to get another battle phase attacker, or like another battle phase caller, that allows you to call again. Because there's no other way you'd be able to use this, unless maybe you're supposed to like use it after you restand Greedon once, and then you use Bunny and combination of Muka and Bunny to get a board. I could see that, but I think I'm genuinely onto something here. Choose up to 4 Desire Devil Normies from your drop zone. If you choose 1 or more, return them all to deck and shuffle. And if you return 4, this unit gets +10 for the battle. Cool. So he's a 20k swinger, prevents you from decking out, all around really good. Definitely something I think Greedon needed with the decking out prevention, or at least from what the last time I played Greedon, I almost decked out, barely didn't. I won by the hair of my chinny chin chin because I had a 1 crit left in deck, but yeah, I don't know. Am I right? Are they going to make another battle phase attacker, or this is just meant for me for what the battle phase attackers already are? Either way, I think Kodoku's really cool in terms of art. His skill, I think, is really good, but I'm not so sure about it in Greedon. I'll give him a 2 over 3 of, though, because I'm willing to try him. Okay, I slept in again, but let's go ahead and get the rest of the reveals done. So first up we have an order that looks really cool. Elementary Sanctitude, Continuous Sentinel, so a Sentinel that's an order. Continuous Sentinel before copies of this in the... You may only have one copy of this in the deck, real enough. If your opponent's Vanguard is triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Play it by discarding one from your hand. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or less, choose one of you and it cannot be attended by battle. Remove this card. What's the point of this? I don't see why you would run it. It only works when the opponent has triple drive and you're at grade 2 or less. So, I mean, yeah, okay, it can be used without paying the cost though. So, I don't know. I don't think I like it. If you want to run it, it's a one of, but it doesn't really seem that cool to me. Then we have our ride line for Neonectar, announcing Windspring Kodafi, auto when it's brought upon if you win second draw card, standard starting ability, that's the best about him. Then we have Budding of Peasant Sounds Gracia, auto when she's brought upon by Brilliant Tomb Rakia, you may call her to rearguard, okay, and then continues rearguard during the battle that she boosted to Vanguard, she gets +5, so she's a 13k base. Okay, so that's pretty nice, getting boosting Vanguard bonuses, so I like that. I think that's a good skill. Maybe a 2 of in the main deck, who knows? I mean, granted, she calls herself, so you probably don't need it. And then we have Brilliant Tune Rakina, auto when is wrote upon by Lianorn, and in its card name, Soul Blast 1, choose a grade 1 unless from your drop zone, call it to rear. Cool, so if they manage to kill Gracia, you can call her back, or you can use this to keep discarding, cards from your hand for your ride line that are grade 1s or less, and then call them back via its skill, and continues rearguard. If your back row has 3 or more rearguards, she gets a boost. Okay, I'm seeing a trend here. We're seeing a lot of cards that have on boost abilities, or that get boost, or just a rearguard spamming ability. And then we have Bandmaster of Blossoming Bonds, Lianorn. So continuous when she be wrote upon is regarded as Grand March of Full-Blown Lianorn. Okay, we knew that was coming. On event, when she attacks, Soul Blast 1 and discard 1 and boost this unit with all of your back row standing rear guards with boost. And if she was boosted by 3 or more units, this unit gets +1 drive for the battle. At the end of the battle, you choose 2 of your back row rear guards and stand them. And then continues to rearguard during the battle. She was boosted, she gets +5. Okay, so let me get this straight. This woman can swing over freaking how many 3 8k boosters? No. This plus 2 of these, 20 plus 13, 33. This thing can hit for 46 with just the Shroud deck. With just these 2, it can hit for 46. While the opponent's at grade 2 and get a triple drive out of it. And the fact that she has the audacity to stand them back up, it's even better. That is so good. She can get you, well, not multi-attack, but she gets you so much power. Basically, the Vanguard's an instant PG. Like, there are some decks I know where Vanguards aren't immediate PGs. Nope, this one's an immediate PG for guarding, because that's not even going to be remotely a normal guard. That's good. Very simple cost, very low cost. Big ass number, and you get to benefit out of it by standing your back or rear guards regardless if you hit or not. Cool, I love that skill. All around, that's really good. Getting that number is amazing. I like her. I actually cannot wait to test this out, which is what I'm going to go do after this. So sorry to say, this is partially because I'm rushing to finish this, but it's also because I genuinely want to go try this out. I'm going to end it here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you on this one. Don't forget to stand up your Vanguards.